Swipe Up, episode 240, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I am your host, Ray Taylor. Walgreens security guard murders trans organizer Banko Brown as he left the store. I don't know if anybody's seen the video. I saw the video. I watched it, right? You got to watch it to see, right? Why? How did the security guard handle this? Walgreens, we know about all the high ticket items they sell at Walgreens. I mean, it's like a luxury drugstore. Every product in Walgreens costs at least $100. So who knows how many thousands of dollars were being stolen from Walgreens? Well, I'm sure the person stealing the merchandise from Walgreens was really threatening the other person. Maybe a lot of physical intimidation, right? Maybe that security guard really felt like they were at risk, right? It was either shoot the shoplifter or maybe die yourself. Maybe that's what it is. So I watched it, and that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Security guard had complete and utter control at every moment. Security guard let Brown up. Brown walked out the door, and as soon as Brown walked out the door, security guard pulled his gun and shot him. And let me tell you, I worked at a job where we had loss prevention. We had security, private security, same thing. And we sold a lot more at a Costco. I used to work. And I worked in the electronics department at Costco, which, if anybody's been to a Costco, is the first department when people walk in. It's also a department with a lot of high-priced items. So loss prevention hung out in my department a lot. So I know a lot about loss prevention, and I know a lot about how they deal with stuff. And let me tell you, the way this security guard dealt with this situation is something I've never seen a security guard ever do in my entire life. Obviously. Doesn't happen. Not supposed to handle like this. The video captures the guard tackling, punching, and ultimately shooting Brown as he leaves the store. The surveillance footage released by the district attorney's office does not have sound and shows the guard blocking Brown from leaving the store, engaging in a physical altercation with him, and ultimately shooting him in the chest as he steps out onto the busy street. The district attorney's office announced that no charges will be filed against the guard, deeming the shooting was as reasonable, quote-unquote, reasonable, which has sparked outrage and protests in the community, obviously. The security guard's excuse was that Brown said he was going to stab him. Of course, the video has no audio, so you can't corroborate that. The only thing protecting the security guard is self-defense, right? That's the only basis for it, and it's his word. Because the only other person involved in that altercation is no longer alive. I want to know what items. What was this security guard protecting Walgreens from losing, which, by the way, businesses lose stuff all the time. Not only from being stolen, but just things get damaged. It is like they write off so much stuff. It's a tax write-off for them. They don't care. Unless it's like, I think it has to be over $500, then you can charge them with the crime. But generally, loss prevention is just trying to get the merchandise back. That's it. But you don't see them tackling them. In many cases, they're not allowed to. I mean, it depends on the store, the city. There's a lot of... So maybe in San Francisco, maybe Walgreens, they don't care. They allow them to do that. But they wouldn't have allowed loss prevention to do that. Generally, loss prevention has to wait for the person to exit the building before you can even consider what they're doing stolen. Because walking around inside a store with merchandise isn't shoplifting. It's only after you leave the store. But another thing loss prevention guys know, they know the homeless people in the area. They know the regulars that come to the store. And Banko Brown, homeless, probably lives in that area. Seems like that security guard not only knew Banko Brown, but knew Banko was trans, female to male trans, judging by the fact that when he is being interviewed and interrogated about the situation, he refers to Banko as a woman. So probably, if I had to guess, no proof of this, but wouldn't surprise me considering the reaction to it, I would imagine the security guard believes in the right-wing propaganda and is very transphobic and didn't value Brown's life. Clearly. So, a community of people, not only the trans community, but also the homeless community, which so many conservatives seem to not really deem their life as valuable whatsoever. If given the opportunity, I would place a large amount of money on conservatives, if given the opportunity, to exterminate homeless people, to exterminate trans people, to exterminate anybody that doesn't fit into whatever categories they deem to be quote-unquote normal. Whatever doesn't fit into their religious standards of existence. Would not be surprised. Put my money on it. Would not be surprised if the security guard believed in very similar values to many other Republicans. Because what you see, the altercation, you see Brown going to leave and the security guard blocking Brown. Okay, sure. Brown kind of trying to get through. Clearly Brown much less physically intimidating than the security guard. Security guard not budging at all. And then the security guard decides to start throwing punches. By the way, Brown didn't start the physical altercation, aside from just trying to push past the security guard. Never throwing punches. And once the punches are being thrown at Brown, basically goes to the ground, turtles up. Not really an experienced fighter, it seems. So, one reason the security guard had zero reason to be afraid for his life if that person has zero combat abilities. There's also cut to the security guard on top of Brown, on Brown's back, rear naked choke. For those that don't know, is when you have the back of your opponent and you put your arm around their neck and you go to choke them out. I would imagine Brown was saying that maybe he couldn't breathe, which is one of the reasons why generally that choke cuts off the blood circulation. But, you know, maybe the security guard doesn't know proper technique or whatever and could have just been cutting off the air supply. And we all know how many people have died by being choked, by not being able to breathe. So maybe that was the reason why the security guard got off of Brown. But the security guard does get off of Brown. It's not like Brown was able to push the security guard off and get to his feet on his own. Security guard just stands up and lets Brown get up and walk out. And apparently, you know, kind of is like, what's up, kind of a thing. And that's when the security guard shot him. Like, if you look at this, there's no point at which the security guard is ever in any harm. Has complete control, seemingly, of every moment of that situation. And then lets Brown get up, assumingly to just be, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna let you up so then I can shoot you. I'll be able to justify shooting you. Which, by the way, people that were there, the witnesses that were there, never heard this mysterious threat of being stabbed. Never seemed like Brown was going for a weapon at any time. and was walking out of the building. And the reason why a lot of private security companies don't physically have physical altercations with people, I mean, one, sometimes they're wrong, and people who are shoplifting dump stuff. If they think somebody's following them, they'll dump stuff. So usually they have to be 100% that they actually have something, and usually has to be at a high enough price point for them to even give a shit. But generally, physical altercations, you could be sued. And to avoid lawsuits, they try to discourage that. But that's depends. There's a lot of things. I don't think there's any law preventing what the security guard did, but ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, to everybody that feels that act was justifiable, they just tell the world that they don't value human life. What could have been stolen from Walgreens? What possibly? It seemed like just a bag of groceries. Brown was homeless. Maybe it was like medicine, but we don't know. Go into a Walgreens. You're not going into like some high-end retail store. Who cares? Who cares? Who's this security guard armed? Who has a gun when you're protecting Walgreens? Ridiculous. What are we doing? This thing with guns. What are you doing? You just want an opportunity to use this gun. To use the tool for its purpose. To shoot a bullet and end a life. And you just want an opportunity to arise to allow you to justify in you doing that. Because it's not, guns don't protect you. Soldiers get shot, police get shot, trained people who are armed get shot all the time. Owning a gun doesn't protect you from being shot. It's just people that own guns have a delusional idea that somehow they're going to get a shot off before the person that wants to kill them. As if the person that wants to kill them is going to like challenge them to a duel to give them equal time and space to draw their weapons and shoot. It is just this delusional, fictional mindset people have, where if a good guy with a gun actually did anything to protect people, then there would be so many examples of it because so many people have guns. But that is not what we see. We see issues like in Uvalde where there's hundreds of armed law enforcement people, armed and trained, doing absolutely nothing except for stopping all the parents from trying to do something. This good guy with a gun bullshit is ridiculous. It is the dumbest, delusional thinking. If more guns equaled less shootings, this country would have no shootings because no other country has as many guns as we do. And the idea of like, oh, criminals will still get a gun. All of these mass shootings are being done by people who are legally obtaining guns. When assault rifles were banned previously, there was a decrease in gun violence, in mass shootings. Like, there are so many studies and so much proof to say that guns are horrible for this situation that we're in, are directly linked to the amount of people that are being slaughtered daily by guns. And that's not even to say this security guard who thinks he's protecting Walgreens? Like Walgreens is some mom and pop shop? Walgreens could shut down that store and not notice. These are like major corporations. You think that entire store could be looted and Walgreens is still going to turn a profit? It's just this idea in this country that we protect property and value property more than human life. people getting killed, they always find justification. And it's stupid. And it's like, anytime somebody is killed, all the person who killed them has to say is, self-defense, I feared for my life. Look at every cop that shoots an unarmed person. I thought they had a gun. Meanwhile, so many instances, no gun. No gun. Could be a child, man, woman, doesn't matter. I felt so fragile. I thought it was going to... But then there's a mass shooter who's literally armed and literally just killed a bunch of people. Somehow the police effortlessly are able to detain that person with no incident. So it's like they have the ability to do it. They just want the excuse to kill somebody. Like this security guard did. And it's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that he's not even like, at least with like police, you understand that they have like this massive union. They have qualified immunity. Like there are things that shouldn't exist, but they do exist that keep a lot of police from facing criminal charges. But this is some private security guard guy. And the only reason he's not being charged is because somebody watched this security video and was like, yeah, that's reasonable reaction. We should really just shoot people that are trying to steal groceries. We should really end the lives of homeless people that are trying to steal groceries. Because that's where our priority should be in this country. It's absolutely insane. Anyway. Bunch of stuff. Ridiculous. Source for that, theguardian.com. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Swipe Up. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and insights on the latest news and entertainment updates. Please join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. And I'll see you next Thursday for more unfiltered opinions and fresh perspectives. And remember, if you don't agree with me, you don't have to threaten to shoot me.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.